I can't believe people are complaining in the United States about the new pat-down rules. What a marvellous idea from the authorities to give everyone just that little bit of extra pleasure, okay, before they get on planes and that by being patted down. I mean, some people pay for that, you know. They absolutely do. Can you just imagine that, you know, getting towards the plane and then just before you get in, a security officer pats you down. It gives you a little bit of a touch-up before you get on that plane. I don't know what they're complaining about. I really don't. I mean, I'd be only too happy to fly every day for the next 10 years if there was a chance of me being touched up before I got on that plane. Hey, good morning to you. My name's Chris Reardon. This is United Kingdom Talk here on United Kingdom Radio. And if it is the 23rd of November 2010, 5 minutes past 11 UK time in the morning, then you are with us live. A very good morning to you. If it's any other time, you are listening or watching a recording of the show. Already, Millie, lovely, lovely Millie, has reminded me to hit the start button. Thank you, Millie. And I did forget again. I can't believe it's been months now. Months we've been doing the show live, and I still can't remember to hit. There are 3 record buttons I need to hit. One for the audio, one for the camera, and one for the, what is it called? The Ustream thing. I have to hit the record button on all 3 of those. So there we are. We are audio as well. The main website for this particular show, if you want to go back and see any of the old ones, is at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk, right? unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Now, one of my managers, Jimmy, is his name. I don't think I've ever... Oh, text message coming through already. Let's have a quick look. I can't believe it. A text message already. Hi, sorry I was asleep last night. Oh, it's someone I texted last night. And they text the next morning or hours later. Do you get that? Do you get texts from people? Hi, how are you? And you look and you're thinking, I wonder who that is. Don't know who it is. I used to get those all the time until I changed my phone number about 6 weeks ago. Hi, how are you? And then you answer it, don't you? Who are you? And they say, don't you know? No, guess. I don't want to guess. At that moment, I usually delete the message. Miserable old git, aren't I? I was listening to who was I listening to someone the other day? I think it might have been a Paul Edwards show. And I think he was talking to his friend. They were doing a beer programme. Incidentally, excellent show, that. Paul Edwards. If you missed it, you can find it as a podcast. All these shows here on United Kingdom Radio are podcast, unless they go wrong, which happens occasionally, okay? They're all podcast, and you can find those at United Kingdom Radio. .co.uk. At the top you'll see download podcasts. I think that's what it says. And have a little listen to the Paul Edwards one. He did this beer show. Very good indeed. And I think he and his friend, I think it was them, it might have been someone else, I'm not sure, were saying that they were concerned they were becoming miserable old men. I agree with you. I think you are as well, Paul, and your friend, and me as well. That's 3 of us. Anyone, or was it Mike Cullen? Oh, I can't remember now. It might have been Mike Cullen. Mike Cullen is all... We're all becoming miserable old men. Why is that? Why do we find so much wrong with everything all the time? In particular, the way certain people talk to each other. Or write to each other, even. Have we lost the art of spelling? You would have thought, with all these spell checkers and everything else like that online, that there would be no more spelling mistakes. But there is, isn't there? I have a habit myself. I always make the mistake. I don't know why, but if you have a look at your computer keyboard, if you're in front of your computer at the moment, next, looking for the apostrophe. Now, on my keyboard, the apostrophe is underneath the at, the A and a little circle. Okay, it's the same key. For the apostrophe, you just press the key as normal. For the A with the circle, you hold down the uppercase button and hit the A. Now, for some reason, and this happens every single time, I hit the semicolon, not the semicolon, the semicolon button. I hit the semicolon button, which is next to it on the left, instead of the apostrophe button. Why do I do that? I don't know why I always do that. And this is where I'm kind of guilty as well, because I'm rushing. If I looked down at my keyboard, I would see that I'm hitting the wrong button every time. And I've always done this. Since ever I've had a computer, for some reason, I always hit the semicolon button and not the apostrophe button. Now, of course, if you if you then read back... Oh, I'm going to sneeze. I think I'm going to sneeze. If you read back your text that you've just written, you will pick this up. Excuse me. Oh. Oh, dear me. Excuse me. You would do it, but most people, I don't think, read back on the emails that they've written, or indeed, even worse than that, is Facebook messaging. I was listening to a radio show last night on the way home on LBC, and they were saying how now even young people who are sending in CVs, you know, for jobs, write their CVs in text language, with U, Y-O-U, becoming just the letter U. Before, B-E-F-O-R-E, becoming B and the number 4. And these people are wondering why they can't get jobs. I mean, if you're an employer, think about it. You got 2 CVs there waiting, okay? One of them is written correctly in the Queen's English, and the other one is written in text talk, or is full of errors. Which one would you employ? Wouldn't you think that someone applying for a job would want that CV written as well as possible to try and get the job? You see, if they're going to put a CV in like that, then what are they going to be like at the job after they've been there a while? Or even immediately? You just wouldn't employ it. So if you are a young person putting in CVs for things, and you're a bit of a computer geek, and you're used to writing in computer sort of geek language or text language, you need to sort that. If you want to get a job, you've got to write it properly, okay? Not for your benefit. Don't think the world owes you a favour. Don't think the world should understand your CV. You've got to write the CV how you think the prospective employer wants to read it. Otherwise, you're never going to get a job. All right? Got to say good morning to Zach. Good morning, Zach, who's in Orange, Sydney. He'll be with us tomorrow. He says, "What's with the sounds doing the newscast? What sounds are these?" Oh, as in like pushing buttons and bits of paper. No, I'll tell you why. If you watch the show on Ustream, then the system isn't wired so that the news comes straight through the mixer. So the only way people on Ustream can hear the news is for me to put the mic on, and unfortunately I find it very difficult to sit here and be silent. Yeah. I do like to make a noise of some sort so that you know I'm still alive. Barely, but I am just about still alive. All right? Now, as I was saying to you, good morning, Zach. Zach is here tomorrow afternoon at 12 o'clock UK time. Zach from Orange, we had a bit of a connection problem with him last week, but he'll be here tomorrow afternoon between 12 and 1 p.m. I think that's correct, isn't it, Zach? Do let me know if it isn't. I won't be able to be with you, so it'll all be on the automatic thing. So if it goes wrong, I'm afraid I won't be here to pick you back up, okay? Right. Yes, one of my managers, Jimmy, who I work for in Clapham, I've been working for him for quite some years now, he has informed me that a good way to lose weight, which I'm trying now, because we've gone back above the 13 stone mark, I'm afraid, boys and girls. I know. And crisps and Cadbury's chocolate buttons is what's caused that, I'm afraid. Once again, the weight has come back on, boys and girls. I'm disappointed too. More disappointed than you, probably. I am absolutely disappointed. And he reckons a good way to lose weight is eat whatever you like. This is what he said. Eat whatever you like during the daytime until 5 o'clock, he said. And then you stop eating until the... I can't get comfortable today. You stop eating until the next day. So the last 3 days I've been doing it. Now, I haven't weighed myself yet. The last time I weighed myself, I was 13 stone 2 pounds, which is not good. It's not good. I'm about 8 or 9 pounds heavier than I would like to be. Like to be about 12 and a half, to be honest. Okay? So there we are. He reckons no eating after 5 o'clock. Now, he sleeps slightly differently to me, because once he had one like long bed between sort of round about 2 o'clock in the morning and 9 o'clock. So there's me thinking I usually have my last meal about 8 o'clock, 7 or 8 o'clock at night. So I'm trying that now, and for the last 3 days I've had nothing since my last meal at around about 7, and breakfast at 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. So I'm trying that one. Has anyone tried that one? Weight loss people, do let me know. There's an email address to the show. My email address is chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Have you tried that one? Not eating after a certain time? Does that work for you? Will it work for me, more importantly? I don't care you putting on a few more pounds, but I can't do it myself. We need to be thin, thin, thin. That's it. Okay? If you're with us live, and it's 16 minutes past 11 on Tuesday, the 23rd of November 2010, if that's the time where you are now, then you are with us live. You can join in live. We have a Skype. Our Skype username is all one word, United Kingdom Radio. United Kingdom Radio. And I have a local London phone number as well, 020 3287 1488. 020 3287 1488. Forget the way you look, okay? With the overweight thing, forget the way you look. Think of your health, okay? All sorts of problems if you're overweight, diabetes. I mean, I saw... I didn't see one of the people who come and sing the karaoke. I think I was telling you about this on Thursday or Sunday's show. He does a bit of psychic stuff. Okay? And one of the things he told me I need to be very, very careful about is sugar. He was getting this message in his mind. But believe it or not, okay, he was getting this message in his mind. Big message, kept saying sugar all the time. Sugar. Sugar, sugar, sugar. Sugar, da-da-da-da-da-da. Oh, honey, honey, da-da-da. Do you like that one? Oh, well, it's a little song that I knew a while ago. The Archers, yes, that's right. You are my candy girl, and I got you wanting me. Something like that, I think. Oh, we got to do a message there? No. So I need to be careful of sugar. And I know it's those chocolate buttons. They are deadly, aren't they? Cadbury's chocolate buttons. We love them. Have you tried some of those of you in the States? Cadbury's chocolate buttons. Oh, please order some. You can't put down they've got these great big bags now. The only thing is the big bags of Cadbury's buttons are now starting to look small to me. Why is that? Is it that after you've had some big ones, they start looking small as well? And so that you've got to look for even bigger ones. I mean, you can do a lot of damage. A lot of damage with those really big ones. You really will. Pardon? Be very, very careful of the big ones. You will do so much more damage than the small ones. But sometimes you have a small one and you're just not satisfied, are you? You sit there with that small one and you can't do anything where you think, oh, I need a big one. Don't you? So you go out and buy the big one. And eventually that starts looking small as well. You can't win with these things. You really can't. Right. What else have I had? Yes, chest infections. Chest infections. Is it me? Or have I noticed a lot of people this year, or certainly since September, seem to be going down with chest infections left, right and centre? I've had one. I had one a little while ago. And in January. So I've had two. Okay? There was a bloke on the radio I listened to at night. Anthony Davis, I think his name is, on LBC. And he too had a chest infection which turned to pneumonia. And he's been off work for 4 weeks. LBC. It's a London talk station, which I love. I love Anthony Davis, but unfortunately, filling his shoes was this bloke called Christo, and I can't bear him. He's like a wet blanket, he is. Christo. Another puff on the radio, I'm afraid. I can't bear his voice. Christo. Anyone heard him? Oh, get off that radio. And another bloke on there, Nick Majerison, who does the overnight weekend show. Another one. Like a wet blanket, he really is. He's so calm all the time. Nothing bothers him. I mean, life isn't like that, is it? Things are bothering me all the time. Everything is bothering me. Especially the electricity meter and the gas meter going around this week, as I've had the heating on. We've had to put the heating on this week, yes. So anyone else had a chest infection, let us know. Because everyone seems to be going down with these things this year. Email chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Now, a very, very nice long email here from Fag Ash Lil. Now, I do believe this is the first ever email from Fag Ash Lil. How wonderful. And it's 2.5 pages long. I am very pleased with this, Fag Ash Lil, so let's get reading this. If you want to come in and comment at any time, boys and girls, feel free to do so, okay? Skype username, remember if you're with us live, 21 minutes past 11, November the 23rd, 2010, if that's the time here in the UK. Now you are with us live. You want to butt in at any time, feel free to do so, okay? Skype username, United Kingdom Radio, and the phone number 020 3287 1488. 020 3287 1488. Fag Ash Lil says, "Hi Chris, it's not like me, but I'm going to have a rant. You don't need to read it out. I just wanted to make some space in my tiny brain. But we do need to read it out. You said it, you don't say here, don't read it out. So I'm assuming you don't mind that I read it out, okay? If you ever want to send me a private email, boys and girls, that's all right as well. Please put in the subject line or somewhere on there, please do not read this out on air or on your show, and I won't do. I'll reply privately to you. You will be in my private box, boys and girls. There's quite a few people that have been in my private box, to be honest, but you too could be one as well. Send in those emails, Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. And she goes on. England, the 16th of November 2010, a few days ago, a royal wedding is announced. In the words of REM, it's the end of the world as we know it. She says, historically, royal weddings and birth announcements have been timed to cheer up the nation. In times of crisis, so it looks like England is well and truly down the pan at the moment. Well, not as bad as our friends in Ireland, though, is it, Fag Ash Lil? Oh dear, it's all gone wrong over in Ireland. And yes, I think we should help the Irish, don't you? How can anyone turn around, okay, and say to their friends and neighbours, come on, the Irish are our friends, aren't they? Out of the whole of Europe, Ireland are absolutely our closest friend. I've always said we need a tunnel to go to Ireland. We need a tunnel. No, actually, no, we don't need a... We need a bridge. I don't think we should have a tunnel to Ireland. We need a bridge to Ireland. Ireland is not the sort of place that you want to go through a dark old tunnel, do you? Absolutely not. We want a bridge going to Ireland with trees either side of it and sparkling lights and statues of the Blessed Virgin Mary all the way across. It would be very pretty. There's something very, very special, certainly in my heart, about Ireland. My nan was Irish, but over the years I've known so many Irish people. They are absolutely our closest and best friends, I think, the Irish. And how anyone can turn around and say, no, we're not lending you a little bit of money. I mean, how much is it anyway? It's only a few £billion, isn't it? Come on, hand over the cash. Let me see if I can find any news about this. I mean, someone was moaning. There it is. Here it is. A little article in this morning's Sun, which says Chancellor George Osborne faced fury yesterday after pledging a measly £10 billion to help bail out Ireland. Oh, come on, we've got to help our friends in Ireland. As riots hit Dublin, he admitted that we may have to pay billions more to help others. Well, I'm not so sure about that, dear. I mean, I don't mind helping the Irish, but the rest of them, oh, dear, I don't think so. please. Come on. So stop moaning. Please stop moaning. We're going to send the Irish the money and good. £10 billion. It's just. I mean, I might even send some myself. Has anyone got the address? Let me get an envelope. Anyone got the address to send the money to? What's the Irish bloke's name? Surely there's nothing wrong with sending them a bit of money. Back to this email. Fag Ash Lil says, a quick scan over the news. She's good at scanning. Beep. I reckon you'd be good at scanning in one of those supermarkets, to be honest. Come on, Lil. Nice little job in Asda. Eh? Oh, mind you, they're doing away with all these checkout staff, aren't they? I'm quite enjoying using the self-service checkouts now, I must admit. I hated them when they first came, but now it's a pleasurable experience, it really is. The only thing is, the only disadvantage to the self-service checkouts is when there is a queue waiting to get to them, and you're never quite sure where to stand, are you? Have you noticed that? You're never quite sure where to stand to queue for the self-service checkouts. Do you stand in the middle? Do you stand on the end? Do you stand on the other end? Or do you just go to one as soon as you see one available? I mean, I've seen people queue jumping there. Evil people. Evil people. Queue jumping at the self-service checkout in Asda. I hope their head falls off. I really do. Or maybe their hand will get stuck to the... Or they, you know that laser? You know the laser that reads the bars as it goes across? Maybe it detects cucumbers and it will fire out a beam into their faces and blow their heads off. How dare they jump queues like that? It's a liberty. That's what it is, dear. Can't bear queue jumpers. Anyway, back to the email. Lil says, a quick scan across the news reveals that Asda, who have taken over Netto in the last year, will provide 7,500 new jobs. Fantastic. Until you see that the police are shedding nearly 3,000 jobs and the NHS 27,000. Is that right? 27,000 NHS jobs. Yeah, but what jobs are they? Are they frontline or are they management? Because there's too much management. We hate management, don't we, here? We hate management on this programme. Doesn't matter where they are, except the managers that I work for in Belushi's, who get their hands dirty as well. We like them. But in general, we don't like management. Far too far up the ladder, full of self-importance, most of them. It's true. She says, so for any of you job seekers out there who had high hopes of working in your local supermarket, you may have to think again, as employers tend to go for those already employed or recently employed. So what she's saying there, of course, is that if you've been out of work for a long time, you've got less chance of getting a job. She says, I suppose one glimmer of hope is that some of these employees will be overqualified, whatever that means. Yeah, I've often wondered that. You know, when I think overqualified means if you've got degrees and all those sort of things from universities, and you're going for a shelf stacking job. They say you're going to be overemployed, and you will get bored at doing the job. You know. Seriously, she says, why do people still use that excuse these days? In days gone by, it was fair to think that a university graduate or other highly qualified person who applied for a job as a shelf stacker would only stay until they got a better offer. But not these days. Everyone is grateful for any job they can get. I personally have done some jobs that I would rather not do, but if needs be, then you must go out there and do anything. Yeah, I go along that. I have to say, though, that given the choice, I would prefer not to inspect fountain pen nibs under a magnifying glass again. Under a magnifying glass. I would rather clean toilets, which I have done as well. Well, you can come and do mine anytime you want. My toilet is very clean, actually, Fag Ash Lil. I have to say, without going into graphical details, dear, I do, if I do notice a small mark on there, Perhaps there's been some sort of explosion into the bowl. But if I do notice a small mark, then it has to be removed immediately, dear. Down that pan with the piece of toilet paper and the spray. I can't be having a dirty toilet. Oh, have you ever been round to someone's house with a dirty toilet? Oh, God. Blah! Oh, it's awful, isn't it? Blah! Blah! Oh, no, thank you. We don't like, it's one thing I can't stand, dirty toilets. Oh. Oh. No. Nasty, nasty. She says, let's have a quick rundown. Job losses are everywhere, from bankers to binmen, who I hold in higher regard than the bankers. You lose your job and have to claim benefits. Your best hope, if you live on a council estate, not in some posh area where the government are now capping the housing benefits. Yes. Yes, they're now, they've put a cap on the amount of money that they pay out in housing benefits. And I do think there is some good in that. There are some people living in the most marvellous houses and they won't get jobs. There are also some people who want jobs who cannot get jobs. There are areas of the country where you just can't get a job. One thing that has surprised me over the last couple of weeks is one of the Belushes I work at, the one in Hammersmith. Recently, the manager there, lovely lady, Vicky, has gone to another Belushes in Borough, London Bridge, where I also happen to work at as well. So I'm still working with this lady, a wonderful woman. Love to get her on the show. She's just a laugh a minute. A laugh a minute. And Belushes advertised for a new manager. And can you believe this, boys and girls? Not a single applicant came through. Strange, isn't it? Not a single applicant came through for the job of manager at Belushes in Hammersmith. So they've got temporary people doing it at the moment, like on a rotation. Am I going to sneeze again? Have I picked something up? Have you given me something this morning? Oh. Oh, dear me. Excuse me, I think I might be getting another chest. I hope I don't have a chest. Don't mind a cold. I can deal with a cold. I hate chest infections, really. It's all a bit like that, isn't it? I read something about chest infections the other day. People die from those unnecessarily. If only they'd go to the doctor just that little bit earlier, you know? Anyway, back to the email. The government may try to reduce your benefit... Oh, sorry, here we go. Let me see. You've been unemployed for 6 months? Well, the government may try to reduce your benefits, but try explaining to your MP that it's hard to find jobs, which is what I'm just saying, when they keep being cut, and you may be met with a glassy stare and a speech that says you are not trying hard enough. And the cuts are necessary for the long-term future of the country. Well, yes. As I said, Lil, there are places where you cannot get jobs. On the other hand, there are places where jobs are available, and certain members of the community just do not want to work. End of story. They don't want to work. It's difficult to me to kind of understand that. Because while I was still at school, 16 years old, I stayed on for a year in sixth form. Complete waste of time, really, but nevertheless, that's what I did. But while I was there, I had 2 little jobs. One in a supermarket, a privately owned supermarket, on a Wednesday night, 5 till 10 p.m. And the other one at a place called Millets, which was in Putney, camping shop. Saturday mornings, 9 a.m. I think it was, to 6 p.m. And from that moment, I always worked. Bar 2 weeks. 2 weeks, that's all I had. Finished school, 2 weeks, and then got a job. Supermarket as well, it was a full-time supermarket job. There are people who have left school and have never worked. Some of them, yes, haven't been able to get a job, full stop. Others don't want to work. There are people in their 30s and 40s now who have never worked. They don't want to work. They want to live on handouts. That's how they're happy. But is it fair on everyone else? Is that fair on everyone else? If you can get a job and there are jobs in your area, should you be allowed to sit on your lazy arse and do nothing? I think that's wrong. Fag Ash Lil says, let's go back to the housing benefit issue you had when you thought was a reasonable job with reasonable pay. So over borrowed, perhaps on the purchase of your home, suddenly you were out of work. And the government is now going to refuse to pay the full amount of interest per month required for you to continue living there. The full mortgage, incidentally, was never paid for by benefits, just the interest. So, what Lil's saying there is that if you have a house, okay, and you have a mortgage on it, you lose your job, you can't pay the mortgage. If you can get the building society to agree to it, they will freeze the mortgage and the government will pay the interest part of the loan. Therefore, keeping the loan going, you get to stay in the house and try and tide things over until you can find another job. Lil says, what happens next? Well, worst case scenario is that you lose your home. Where will you and your family end up? If you have family who you can call to help you out, all well and good. But don't go looking to the government for help once you're having a roof over your head, as they will expect you to continue to sleep on the floor while staying with friends or family. If you have young children, then the government has a duty to rehouse you. Hey, guess where you're going to go? Not to the local bed and breakfast, but 1 mile away from home, as the nearby ones are already full up. While there, you may have to contend with asylum seekers and drug addicts and other so-called non-desirables. The same place could be used as a bail hostel. You will find that you have to get along with these people and realise they are people just the same as you who have been through a rough time. And many are going through a rough time. Certainly ex-drug addicts. Some people say it's difficult sometimes to do the whole how do drug addicts work, that sort of thing. Well, if you've ever been a smoker, perhaps, have you tried to give up smoking? Imagine that. Imagine giving up smoking as a giving up drugs type thing. They can't. It's very difficult for these, but it's not as easy as saying, okay, I'm going to give up. It's not as easy as that. If you've never done drugs or never been a smoker or an alcoholic, it's probably difficult to understand how you can give up such things. Wayne's on the line. Good morning, Wayne.
Good morning, Chris. How are you?
Morning, sir. Very well, thank you. Some comments?
Pardon?
Have you got some comments?
Yes. I mean, you were saying about handouts and stuff, and I was thinking also about these costs and stuff for university students and all the different protests that have gone on recently.
Yes, I don't understand, actually, why students are now having to be charged. Why is it? Wayne, are you of a similar age? Are you above 35 or you look probably just below it, are you?
I'm nearly 40, Chris.
Okay, you're nearly 40. So you will remember the times where there were no charges, were there?
Well, to be honest, I never actually went to university, but I think, to be honest with you, if university was free and, for the top students, that might have made me, consider trying harder and stuff like that.
Really?
Yeah.
I had no interest at all in higher education. I wasn't a very academic person, But I don't think when I was 16, 17, I don't think you had to pay. They had a scholarship thing, didn't they?
They did. I mean, at the time, it was a YTS scheme at the time to sort of get you into work and learning the jobs and so on. So,
But a lot of, you know, we were saying this on another show. A lot of the companies that used to have apprenticeships and all this business. So really, in a way, the company concerns, whether it could have been British Telecom, say British Telecom, they would add an apprentice. They're basically paying for you to be trained. But how did we get away from all that? And these apprentices are very hard to come by now, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of that was because, you know, they had money was going into, you know, the company as a whole, and that they didn't have all these sort of separate budgets, did they? Sorry about that. If you just heard that noise, that's Lee Mills just pouring me a drink.
Oh, are you with Lee Mills today?
Yes, I am, just later on.
Doing his little show later, are you, at 12 o'clock?
His big show, yes.
Big show in that little studio. Has he got rid of that piece of sellotape going halfway through the desk at the moment at the front? It's very
No. He's just pointed to it. I didn't notice it until you just mentioned it, actually.
So listen, with these fees and that, you obviously don't agree with fees for sending students to universities.
I mean, obviously I've got mixed views, but obviously, you know, I want to see, you know, Britain's best talent get into universities and get the best qualifications. Of course I do. And if there are people that are hard up, you know, I want to make sure that they have the support they need. So
where should the money come from then?
Well, I think I would agree with. Well, I think there should be more businesses probably get involved with these young people. And, you know, where you said about apprenticeships. So, you know, these companies see them early on and say, well, you know, there could be a big windfall here. Yes. You've got this person here, they're very clever and very interested in this or that, and
a similar thing really to the apprenticeships, except rather than students being trained on the job, such as myself, when I went to work for BT for 6 weeks, I was stuck out in a BT van with another man who taught me the job. So that would be a form of apprenticeship. I'm getting paid at the same time. They're paying for me to be taught, really. And at the end of the day, they then have a member of staff who can do the job for them. Yeah? So what you're saying, and I think I kind of agree to this, is in some instances, perhaps, let's take British Steel. Let's take British Steel, or whatever stupid name that they've got now. Because they kept changing that name, didn't they? They would pay, say, for example, the engineering classes. They could sponsor the engineering classes in universities, couldn't they? Yeah. And
that's what I'm saying.
Yes, and then if they're paying for that, at the end of the day, they'd have a load of girls and boys who could then do engineering to go and work for them. And so similar to that, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I think hairdressers have sort of similar things, don't they, where they'll have people from the college go up there and they will help out and they will learn about. I'm sort of saying that as an example. You know, you'll have young college children going up there, or university graduates, probably not wanting to go into hairdressing, but you see what I mean. It's what you said is right. You know, they could be whatever job they want to go for. In the end result, there could be some sort of local sponsor or national sponsor get involved on it.
I think hairdressers actually have a particularly hard time. My niece was a hairdresser. She's fully qualified, but they get absolutely peanuts for very long days, which go on for years. I don't know exactly what the hairdressing period of time is, you know, to get qualified, but I'm pretty sure it's years, and they're like on peanuts, absolutely peanuts. At the end of it, they get a good wage, but I don't know if it was worth it. You know, the years that they spend training and doing all this colouring, and not my cup of tea at all. How you can stand up for hours on end, you know, listening to someone chatting away in your ear about unnecessary things. I mean, to be honest, you know, Wayne, I can't bear people that just rabbit on and on about nothing for hours on end. Can you?
Well, it depends if I'm interested in the conversation, really.
I'm being very, very naughty here.
Well, that's something new.
What's it like up in Norwich today? Are you warm enough there, or what? It's a bit cold here again.
Yeah, we are. We're taking off our jumpers and our coats, you know.
Really?
I mean, it's like the sauna in here with all these lights and everything.
Yeah, I should think it is. All I've got is a couple of strip lights above me.
Oh.
Never mind, I'm going to have a nice afternoon. I'm going out to my friend Ron's. We're going to have a bit of lunch. I don't know if I need my haircut or not really at the moment. I don't know. I'll leave that probably today. And then I'm going to see Harry Potter, the new Harry Potter film tonight.
Well, I mean, yeah, that looks good. I mean, that's just only out last week, wasn't it?
Have you seen it yet?
I haven't. I hope to see it soon. The other one I thought of going to see is Skyline. That looks quite good as well.
Skyline looks good. I like the old fantasy stuff. I love Merlin, which is on BBC One on Saturday nights. I just think that is some of the best television ever. It certainly outstrips the Doctor Who now, because that's gone a little bit.
Did you actually go and see that Sam Neill one I mentioned a while back?
Which one was that?
The Merlin show with Sam Neill in.
No, I didn't. No. Didn't see that one.
Okay, well, look that up, because that's on a sort of similar lines.
Okay, well, thanks for calling, Wayne.
Okay, Chris,
pleasure.
and
We'll be able to see you in the flesh at 12 o'clock. We'll be UnitedKingdomRadio.co.uk, Tuesday, 12 o'clock. Click the Watch Now button.
Yep, you will. And, of course, Lee Mills.
Yes.
It's his show, not mine.
And he's done the website. Very, very good indeed as well.
Okay, then, Chris. Speak to you again soon.
Cheerio. Bye-bye, Wayne. There we are, Wayne in Norwich there calling in. And good morning to my best friend Ron, who's just sent a message. Harry Potter books, and do shut up. Would you like a call from a real presenter? No, not today, because I'm halfway through an email and I need to get there. I've only got 15 minutes to read this out, dear. I keep going off the side. Good morning, Ron. What are we having for dinner, by the way? Can we have... Oh, I had chips yesterday. Shouldn't really have chips as well. You know that chip shop we go to? Oh, it's lovely in there. I don't know if I don't think I do need my haircut, actually. I think I'll leave it today. Back to the email. Okay, talking about benefits, that sort of thing. And Fag Ash Lil goes on to say, the irony of being sent through temporary housing, as it costs more money than if the government had paid for you to stay where you were. And not only in monetary terms are the costs apparent. Family breakups can occur due to the financial and emotional strains of it all. It's hard to find work when you may not have easy access to a computer or a telephone. Relationships with family and friends can become difficult due to a feeling of shame or the distance you are having to live for them. Health can suffer, as bed and breakfast does exactly what it says on the tin, and so only offers one meal a day and generally no cooking facilities, which means the meagre amount of benefits you have has to be spent on eating out or buying away takeaway meals. Children can become troublesome through the tension and an inability to understand what is happening. Well, on the thing with the food there, yeah, I see this time and time again. People going out, people who have got very little money, and go out and buy chicken and chips from Kentucky, or burger and chips from McDonald's. And a lot of these people, Lil, I think, do actually have cooking facilities. And for some reason, they can't understand that it is cheaper to go and buy, I don't know, a tin of chili con carne, or a tin of baked beans, or spaghetti, or a loaf of bread from a supermarket. You can get a loaf of bread for £1, all right? And say you got I know that someone's going to say now, not everyone likes baked beans. Well, for baked beans, read spaghetti or ravioli or anything like that. in a tin. Okay, you can get meals in tins if you want, or even frozen. Yeah. You can get a loaf of bread for £1. You could get 4 tins of baked beans for £2.50. And a little tub of margarine or butter for £1. So that's, what's that, £4.50 for all that. And you've got 3 days of meals there for £4.50. But no. They go down McDonald's and spend £6 and still feel hungry after. They always feel hungry after. Let's go to the phone lines. Call coming in from London. Hello. Is that you, Ron?
It is.
I thought it was. Call coming in from London. Good morning, Ron, my best friend.
Hello, Chris Reardon. How are you?
Now, funny you should ring in there. This has not been arranged, boys and girls. Austerity measures you've made yourself, haven't you?
Well, yeah, I did make austerity measures. I was just listening. Funny enough, I was just listening to your talk about beans and things.
Beans, baked beans.
Baked beans. It's not a very healthy meal.
Yes,
For somebody that's on the breadline, dear, they need fruit and vegetables and meat to stay warm where they can't afford heating.
You can buy fruit and vegetables. It is not overpriced. Come on.
I mean, I'm not being funny. There's so many slum landlords out there, Chris Reardon.
I beg your pardon. Are you suggesting that I'm a slum landlord?
No, not you, but there are some out there that don't supply heating.
I have very high quality properties that I make sure my tenants are happy and warm and satisfied in every way I possibly can. Sorry?
Oh, it's quite funny.
They ring up.
No,
Hello,
there are landlords out there that take absolutely, it's just about the money. They only take DSS tenants because it is about the money, because it's guaranteed money. But the quality of the property is below a quality of standard of living that most of us take for granted.
Well,
obviously, not myself, because I don't take nothing for granted.
I think we've both been in positions where we've been in people's houses and you look around and it's cold. Why is it cold? The boiler's off. The landlord won't fix it.
Exactly.
I think that's terrible. How do these landlords continue to rent properties out? How do they get away?
Because there's no government legislation. There's no government legislation. At the end of the day, it would be down to the government to have a register of these landlords that rent out these properties. But it's such a big thing that the government don't want to spend the money on it. Again, it's all about money with the government.
Why doesn't a tenant just up and go somewhere else then? Or isn't it as easy as that?
It's not as easy as that, because they have to find deposits, and then there's the whole process. It takes a long time for the DSS to process payments. And a lot of landlords don't want to wait 6 or 8 or even 12 weeks for payments to come through. It's a very difficult situation.
Can you just explain that, right? Now, I let out to... I don't have DHSS. The estate agent looks after my places, right? Now, the way it works, the tenant has to pay the estate agent a deposit, quite a large deposit, which I don't see, okay? And once that deposit has been paid, then they can move in. No deposit, no flat. Does it work differently when it's DHSS then? Tell me more.
No, they still have to put down a deposit.
So where do they find that from? Oh.
Well, they have to find it. They still have to find a deposit, and then what happens is after about 8 or 12 weeks, the housing benefit or their rent is paid by the government. So there's always a long shortfall where the landlord, and this is why these kind of landlords take these people in, because they don't mind waiting, because they know they're going to get a lump sum, and they know that there's going to be no comeback from the tenant, because the tenant literally has no rights. It's quite disgusting. Social housing is a lot better. Privately rented DHSS is awful. The majority of the time, if you watch any of the television programs on like Rogue Traders and things like that, and the documentaries, you see, I saw a 15-year-old girl fell pregnant by her drug addict boyfriend. She got pregnant and she had the baby when she was 16. She moved into a privately rented flat, which the DSS paid for via the taxpayer. And I won't call her a young lady, because she was quite rough. With this baby, it's quite bad at that age. But she moved into this property, and for the baby's sake, there should have been hot water. There was no hot water. There was a hole in the bath, which she had to plug, not like an ordinary plug, like she had to plug with various items so that she could fill the bath up with boiled water out the kettle and off of the stove to give the baby a bath. You know, obviously she looked like she needed a good wash herself, but, you know, it's more about the child.
Yes,
you know, and this is what these slumlord landlords do. You know, they buy these blocks of flats for next to nothing in places like Leeds and Manchester, and then they rent them to the DSS people, and it's awful. It's absolutely awful. The standard of living is below what it should be.
Well, I didn't know how it works. So with this deposit, so presumably they have to borrow this money from someone else?
Oh, I would have thought so. Or they get like a crisis loan from the government, or they, you know, but the deposit is not, I mean, your properties are quite prestigious, so your rents are sky high. Whereas
my rents are not sky high. How dare you?
Whereas these ones, the properties are quite dilapidated. You know, so they can't claim huge amounts of rent, but they claim above the national because it's DSS, and DSS need to put people in private properties because there's not enough social housing. Apparently we need 6 million houses for people, but the majority of them are immigrants. People who firstly jump to the top of the social housing list. This is why it pushes the people that come from this country to the bottom of the list. But that's now being changed. The laws are being changed. Now that the Conservatives are back in, that law is now being changed.
So
there are some good things that the government are doing.
Do you think if you're coming from abroad, from another country, are you saying that you've got more chance?
Absolutely,
in your mind,
absolutely. It's guaranteed. When you come to this country as an immigrant, if you're, I don't know, for whatever reason, as a legal immigrant, and you're escaping, I don't know, war-torn Somalia or, you know, whatever it is, wherever it is, you come to this country, you get an automatic payment when you enter the country. You then go straight onto a social housing list in the area of your choice, that you then jump to the top of the queue above, let's say, a working couple that was born and bred in this country for 50 years with 3 children. They would then jump the queue in front of them.
See,
they take priority.
We hear these stories all the time in the newspapers and all that, but the government and the councils would tell you that this doesn't happen.
No, it does happen. That's the thing. It does happen.
Why do they tell us it doesn't happen?
Because they play about with numbers and they play about with words. They never give anybody a straight answer. If you ask a politician a question, they never say yes or no. Ever. They never say yes or no. If you listen to any political broadcast, any documentary, and if somebody asks a politician a direct question with a simple yes or no answer, they will never say yes or no. They never commit themselves. They never ever commit themselves. It's the same as with the hoo-ha with the universities. They signed a pledge, but a pledge is not a promise. A pledge is not a contract. They signed something that they knew that they could get out of at the end of the day. A pledge means nothing. A pledge won't stand up in court. If it was a contract, it'd be a whole different thing. But they knew that there was a way out of that. It was just them saying, "Oh, well, I will fight it." There's no contract there. There's nothing to say that, you know, that they agree to anything. It's just a pledge. You know, politicians are the worst. You know, it's the same as with the Irish banks at the moment. The George Osborne, our Chancellor, now wants the British people to stump up £1 billion to bail out the Irish banks because English banks have lent over £88 billion to Irish banks. And if there is another drop in the Irish economy, it will send us crashing back through the floor. You know, and this is all because of the last governments.
You think it will affect us if we lend them?
Absolutely. 10% of our export goes to Ireland, which is more than 5 of...
Aren't the Irish our friends?
They are, but are we not in trouble ourselves? Are we not taking money away from disabled and elderly people? Are we not cutting winter payments for the elderly people? Are we not having to switch our street lights off at night because there's not enough money to pay the electric bills? Are we not raising council tax, raising the price of fuel? I mean, you know, yes, a friend in need, but we can only help a friend in need if we are in a position to ourselves. And this country is in no way, shape or form in a position to do that. The government keeps talking about this massive black hole. Well, let's get that sorted out first before we start helping somebody with theirs. You know, it's a disgrace. You know, it's one rule. One rule and one way they say things to them, and another how they say it to us. You know, we have to suffer the brunt of the cuts, but it's okay because we're going to help another country while we're at it. I don't think it's right, and the majority of people that I speak to don't think it's right either, at all. I think it's disgraceful. Why should elderly people's winter payments fuels get cut, but we can lend another bank in another country money to pull themselves out of the crap? It's wrong. It's absolutely wrong. People that have lived and worked in this country all of their lives.
Ron, I've got to stop you there. That was a very good phone call. And I have to say, I think you've said a lot of what most people now think.
Absolutely.
I think you have. I'd love to continue with this, but I'm running out of time now. I've only got half a minute left. So thank you very much. And I'll see you for chips and what have you later on.
Okay, thank you, dear. Goodbye.
Goodbye. There we are. That's Ron there. Yes, he is my best friend. Didn't know he was going to call in then. That's the truth of it. Really didn't know he was about to call in then. But was he saying what you think? Was he actually saying what you think there? Come back at that. We'll be back with you on Thursday morning at 11 o'clock UK time, or indeed join in on the email, chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Couple of emails we didn't get to. More of Lil's email in the next show. Thanks for watching and listening. Lee Mills at 12 o'clock and Gavin Bass at 2 o'clock this afternoon. See you soon. Bye-bye.